Hey everyone, this is Jen from Planting Science. We Many of you probably know we had our meet and greet sessions all scheduled for this week and next. And at this point, I'm recording this on Thursday night. I had to cancel Wednesdays because it turns out I have COVID, and so I've been feeling pretty yucky the last couple of days. But I'm feeling better now. I'm kind of on the mend, so I thought I would go ahead and record this tonight to make sure that it's available for those that need it, especially as some of you may have been planning to come to that Wednesday and neither of the upcoming two sessions really works for you, which I understand. And I apologize for the inconvenience there. The Also, I've had a couple of emails from folks that wanted access to the PowerPoint and things that we talked about, so I wanted to make sure that I'm also making that available as soon as possible as well. So, for what in terms of what y'all missed, those that aren't able to make it, we basically did kind of a introduction. I then talked through some of the updates and next steps and the most important things to be keeping in mind, like right now and as we move into the session. And then we opened it up to questions and answers. And when I had breakout rooms available for teacher and scientist partners to go into their um, into a breakout room and talk through their upcoming schedule and kind of who's doing what and all of that. So obviously we won't be doing questions and answers in breakout rooms in this video, but I did want to point out that I'm not going to go through like a full tutorial here either. There have been years in the past where we spent this time kind of going through all the next steps one by one, but we found that it's much easier to just make that as a video that you can reference. And so we have updated all of our tutorials. We put a whole new playlist together, and I'll show you where that is in just a minute. But speaking of introductions, I wanted to make sure you all had a chance to meet Jen and Sean. Jen and Sean, these two lovely ladies are our staff coordinators. They have been mentors, they've been liaisons, and we're currently, Jen is a postdoc, I believe, at University of California, Davis, and Sean is a um, doctoral researcher at Texas Tech. So they are great. You may find in your group that one of the managers of your group that's an admin will say PS coordinator Jen or PS coordinator Sean. That just means that your group is one of the ones that particular coordinator is overseeing. So they, just be aware they're available to help you out if you have questions. They may be reaching out to you if we have some questions about what's going on, because it's going to be their job to kind of keep tabs on how your kids' conversations are going, and they may have questions for you. So just be aware if you hear from them, that's who it is. But they're both lovely. So I'm sure you will enjoy working with them if you have any interactions with them. The groups have all been created. Now, they've only been created for those from whom I've received applications, and I think I still have one or two holdouts on that. So if that's you and you're watching this, please go submit your application so I can create your group for you. It's really what the other thing I wanted to say, sorry, is that for those that have submitted everything, your supplies packs also will go out probably tomorrow. And again, I'm recording this on Thursday night. So I believe Katrina went in today and packed everything up that we had and that we promised people. And so all of those should go out into the mail, I think, tomorrow. That would be September 1st. So just keep your eye out. I know that Monday is a federal holiday, so that may cause a little bit of a delay, but hopefully everything will reach you in time for you to get started. And speaking of getting started, please be mindful of the date that you plan to have students online and like all the things that need to happen before that. So mentor recruitment has to happen. This says 1 to 2 weeks. I really think somewhere between 2 and 2.5 weeks is pretty ideal. It just gives you time to send out updated invitations if you need to. But there are also other things that need to be done for the research, especially. We'll talk about those in a second. If you are not part of the FQ research, we just need to make sure your mentors are online for you. Student projects should be complete by November 30th. I want to be clear here. If you have to bleed into December with your student projects, it's not that that's impossible. It's just that it's really hard because a lot of our mentors really by that time have checked out and have gone on to do they're finishing up their own semesters. Some of them are traveling, so it gets much, much harder for us to keep mentors engaged after that time. But it's not impossible. And we do have one group already that we know of that is going to need mentors in December. So you do have to let us know so that we can work with you, and try to work that out. But it is going to be tough. So just be aware. Try, if you can get it in between that September 11th and November 30th timeframe, it's so much easier. And then the other thing is that November 30th is a hard stop for everybody in terms of STAR projects. So that's not required, but it is a serious bummer not to let your kids have the opportunity to win, t-shirts and fun prizes. So just keep that in mind. That's important to know. Now, if you are an F2 teacher, you should have received an email with a link to a timeline document, and this will take you there. I've also have it open up here. It's not highlighted like that normally. Okay, so it doesn't look very fancy certainly, and some of this stuff is already taken care of. However, if you are one of those teachers that has not submitted their session application, please click here to get to it. The teacher consent form should have been sent in as well. You would have gotten that possibly from Lisa Carey. And then, bear with me. I remember I have COVID. Sorry. All the parental consent and asset forms should have been sent to you. Those should have been sent by Lisa, and they are specific to your district. So all of those forms have already been passed through your district's approval process and match whatever the requirements are. But if you have questions about that, Lisa Carey is the person to talk to. Obviously, at this point, you can ignore the doodle poll because that's what we were using to schedule these sessions. But right about here is where you really want to start paying attention, because this is the stuff that needs to be done next. So please make sure you're paying attention to that. And just to reiterate that, your student rosters must be loaded into your group page as soon as possible. And the main reason for that is that what we need is their IDs, that PS number login. Now, if you are a teacher that was with us during the professional learning workshops during the summer, your own student login, and I'm making big air quotes as I say that, you can just delete that from your, if you've saved the password or whatever, you can just delete that from your console because you're not going to be using it at all anymore. You're only going to use your own teacher login. So just in case there was any confusion there, all of those student accounts have been archived. So your teacher account, your main account, that's the only one you have to worry about. But your students obviously will have a PS number account. That's what they will use to log in. And in order to generate that, we've got to get you to put the whole list of students that's going to be participating into the system. I have a tutorial that walks you through how to do that. It's not that hard. But one thing I will say is that I don't know if the tutorial specifies that you don't actually have to tell the system which project they're in when you load them in. You can load them in without assigning them to projects. So if you're not quite ready to organize them into their teams, that's okay. Just put in their first name, or whatever nickname you're going to use for them, and their password, and upload it, and it'll be fine. That's what we need. But again, I will show you where the tutorial is for that if you have no idea what I'm talking about. The student content pretest will be administered and submitted. That'll be sent to you by Lisa Carey, and I think in response to you submitting this. So once we have your student assent and your parent or guardian consent form, collected from everybody, then she will send out the content pretest link, and I think that's done online. If you have questions about either of those two things, the person to talk to is Lisa. She's the one who's overseeing all of that. And then there is going to be a scientist perception survey. We will provide you with a link to that. It'll be specific to your class. But the overall results of that you'll be able to see. But we also are having them sent to a spreadsheet so that we can make our own word art out of what students say, similar to what you saw over the summer. And all of that timeline document can be found at this QR code. If you're looking at the PowerPoint, you can click right on this and it'll take you there. Now, if you're a scientist, your job right now should be just establishing contact with your partner teacher and getting your brain around what their timing is. So they've got a lot of little things they're doing, plus they're starting out the school year, so it's a crazy time. So please be patient with your teachers. But Email's fine. There is now on the Planting Science page here, I'll show you this real quick. I'm going to use Sarah Schauder's group here. You'll find when you go to your group page that if you click here on the forum, there's a manager's forum and a teacher mentor forum. And this manager's forum is new this year. But this can only be seen by the Planting Science staff. So that includes Katrina and me and Jen and Sean, but also the teacher and the teacher liaison. So you guys can communicate through here if you want to. I mean, we'll get it, but we're not going to be paying too close attention, I promise. And then this helpful links is also where you're going to find things like that perception survey. So right now the timeline is also linked here for you already. And then there's a student scavenger hunt. Somebody during, I think it was our St. Louis workshop, asked if we can adapt the scavenger hunt that the teachers and scientists did into a student version. So we did do that. Just a heads up with that, though, if you have your students complete it, you'll make a copy of it to use with your class, and we will never see it. So I think it does ask for email address, but it'll be your file on your account, and we will never see the results of that. So just keep that in mind. It's all here, and everybody should have those messages already in their form. And then these down here are messages that the mentors can also see when they join your team. Okay, so mainly what you want to know is when are the students going to be online, and then based on that, when do you need to start recruiting your mentors? And then the various setup tasks that are important are going to be, creating those student accounts, getting that roster uploaded, creating projects and assigning students and mentors to the projects, and then also recruiting the mentors. So you can talk, because while these two are typically teacher tasks and these two are typically liaison tasks, both roles can do all of these things. So if you have different levels of comfort with it, you guys can decide amongst yourselves how you want to handle that. And then as for help, because again, it's a complicated process, and hopefully at this point your eyes aren't already glossed over because you have no idea what I'm talking about anymore. The Power of Sunlight materials that we talked about over the summer, for those that are doing Power of Sunlight for F2, the new ones have been uploaded. If you are one of my middle school groups that is not doing Power of Sunlight, then your stuff is the same stuff. It's been there. Excuse me. So you'll find that here under teacher resources or mentor resources, whichever. Excuse me. Down here under Power of Sunlight, here we have teacher guide, student guide. So they'll look very similar to what you remember from the summer, but they have been updated in response to comments and things like that. So the tutorial videos, there is a playlist now. Oh, here, let me do this on YouTube. There it is. So this is our 2023 tutorials. I made these for everybody because we have a lot of new little features and things like that. So this will walk you through what all of those are like. They're in no particular order. I mean, there's a dashboard tour that obviously walks you through the features of your dashboard. The group page overview walks you through how you can change the settings on your group page so that you can update dates and things like that, add in your description, update your outcomes, all of that. It walks you through all that, and also talks through announcements and using the forum and all of that. So that's a good refresher if you haven't been here in a while. And there are a lot of new features, so make sure you check them out. And then these two are the more functional ones. So you have creating projects and managing those student accounts and recruiting mentors. And again, these are in no particular order either. Either of these can be done first or second, depending on your preference. Or they can be done at the same time by different people within your team. So these are here for you. If videos just really aren't your thing and you really need to have a conversation with somebody, that's what I'm here for. So if you need to send me a quick email or send me a quick text because you have a question, you feel free to do that. That's really a fast and it's really more for like short answer type of things. If you really want someone to hold your hand through it all, I'm happy to do that too. But to do that, you're going to come here to need help. And down here at the bottom, it looks like there's none in there, but if you go to the next week, there you go. Voila. There are all kinds of appointments that you can choose from. So you just select one that works for your schedule. If none of the ones shown here work with your schedule, that's fine too. Just send me an email and we'll schedule a time to sit down on Zoom and I can walk you through everything you need to know. So that's that. That was most of what we talked about. Sorry. We had questions and answers. A lot of those that we had dealt with those consent and assent forms. And again, the person to talk to in that case is Lisa. So on the previous slide, you can send her an email if there's any questions that you have, or if you have an administrator who's concerned about it, you can direct them right to her. She'll be able to answer any questions that they might have. I just don't think there was anything else that was really the primary thing that came up during the sessions. But of course, that's what I'm here for. So if you have any questions about anything, and even if it's something that would normally go to Lisa, if it belongs to Lisa, I'm happy to send it her way. So if you want to make me your one-stop person to go to with questions, again, that's my job. So don't hesitate. I really appreciate you all being here and being a part of this session, and just know that I'm here to help. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.